Today, I'm going to be telling you how I run a food truck by myself at 19 years old. But in order to explain that, first I have to tell you a little bit about myself and why I wanted to start this channel. So, my name is Jake. I am 19 years old and I graduated high school last year. And I've been watching YouTube since 12 or younger. As soon as I was able to get my hands on a device I could watch it on, I figured out how to watch it on my DS before my parents knew, and I was watching something like Filthy Frank, and it was just corrupting my mind, and it was terrible, and it was awesome, and I stayed up late watching it, and it was my favorite thing. And I've always been really interested in the analytics and the algorithm side of things, and I've always kind of in the back of my mind wanted to be a YouTuber and even just build a personal brand, and today I'm starting. And some of my biggest inspirations in doing this are Alex Hormozy. He's like my favorite guy to watch. Everything he says is gold, and he's so smart and good at sales, and I just want to be like him. Mr. Beast, obviously, he's like uber famous and so smart, and I want to be like him too. And of course, my dad, I've always looked up to him. He's been a huge inspiration. He's very hardworking and also entrepreneurial. And so I decided today I'm going to make my first video, and it's going to suck and nobody's going to watch it, and that's okay. And it's going to get better, and I'm very excited for that. So in addition to the reasons I've been inspired, I also wanted to share my journey as an entrepreneur because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur since I was young as well, mostly from watching my dad. And so I just wanted to make this channel to document my journey and share my successes and failures and hopefully some lessons that other people will find useful. And I'd love to be able to provide some value like Alex Hormozy does, for example. It's also kind of going to be helpful to me. Even if nobody watches, it's going to be accountability for me. And making these videos will help me stay accountable and working as hard as I possibly can. And so I'm going to have fun with this, even if nobody watches, and that's okay. So, how did I start a food truck at 19? Last year, I was in high school. I was a senior, and I was applying to college as everyone does. Even if I knew in the back of my mind, I don't know if that's the right option for me. I didn't want to burn the bridge, and so I still applied to colleges just in case I wanted to go. And I looked at a bunch of different colleges, and Babson stood out to me. It's top 10 schools in the nation, according to Wall Street Journal, and it's the number one school for entrepreneurship. And so I early decisioned there. That means basically you say, if you let me in here, I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to go. And so that gives you a little bit of a better chance of getting in. And so I decided to go for that. And I was able to get in, which I was super excited about. And so after a lot of deliberation, I have decided I actually am going to go. But I decided, as I was looking at the tuitions, it's like $250,000, $300,000 in that range without any aid, which is crazy. And I didn't want to come out of college with all of this debt piling on my shoulders, trying to start a business with all this extra debt on top of me. And you can't even escape student loans if you go bankrupt. It's literally attached to you forever, no matter what. And so I had this idea from watching my dad, who works as a franchise consultant. So basically what that means is he represents over 150 like grade A vetted franchise brands, and he works with people who are in the corporate world that are looking to escape their 9 to 5 jobs and do something a little bit more fun, and that they kind of control, and they want to own their own business, but they don't know where to start, but they have some capital to work with. And so he works with them and matches them with the perfect franchise for them based on how much money they have to invest, what their interests are, how much time they have to run it, how involved they want to be, obviously. And so I got exposed to a bunch of different brands through watching him do that job, including this one called Donut Envy, as well as a bunch of other ones. And so I had this idea to use the money that my parents would have put towards college to invest into a franchise. And I would run it and eventually own it and pay my parents back the investment eventually, and then use that franchise to pay and fund for my college, and then I'll be able to come out of college with a revenue producing asset rather than a bunch of debt on my shoulders. And so I pitched this idea to my dad, and at first it was kind of a hard sell because it's a really unconventional idea, but eventually he did go for it. And so we started looking at brands that might be a good fit. And the first brand we looked at was called Ketokinetics. And so Ketokinetics is a really fun brand and it's really easy to run. So basically, the concept is a fitness instructor or a team of fitness instructors that you train. And it's basically fun, alternative physical education for kids aged 16 months through 13 years. And they get together as a group, and it could be at like a school or a church. And you just teach them physical education and their little classes, and it's really fun. And obviously, it's very low investment and high profit, which is really nice. And so we were going to do that. I had a whole lot of research that I did about it, and I even did a huge presentation for it at a business club that I was part of called DECA. And we were going to do it, but eventually somebody bought the territory that I was looking at right before we started the process. And so I didn't want to buy a different territory because the whole point is that I would be able to run it from college. And also, I didn't want to be competing with someone else right next to me. And so I had this other brand in the back of my mind that my dad wasn't as big of a fan of because it was a bigger investment and a higher risk, but I actually liked it more. And that was called Donut Envy. And so Donut Envy is another really fun idea. And so Donut Envy is a mobile food concept. It's a food trailer. It's really interactive. And so it specializes in hot, fresh mini donuts and freshly squeezed lemonade. And so we drive around and we do a bunch of different types of events like festivals, private catering, like corporate meetings and employee appreciation and all sorts of stuff, weddings. And it's really fun. And I kind of fell in love with this idea when I saw videos about it, and I convinced my dad that it was a good idea. And so we started the process of looking into the brand. And so the first process for starting a franchise is called discovery. And so you go on a bunch of calls with existing franchisees who have all the knowledge and they're able to answer any questions you have. And you do some calls with the brand and you learn as much as you can to try to say, is this a good idea for me? And eventually we got through that process and we were still really interested. And so we went to the next step, which is called Discovery Day. That's when we flew out in person to meet the whole Donut Envy team in Orlando, Florida, which was super fun. And we learned a lot about the brand in a classroom setting. But the most exciting and important part, in my opinion, was getting to try the donuts and the lemonade. And it was awesome. And I had been anticipating this for so long, and it was a good payoff because the donuts are genuinely really good. And so after that, the only thing that was left to do was basically to sign the franchise agreement, which we did. And then we scheduled a training date, and the next few months flew by because I was super excited to get into it. And eventually the day for training came, so I flew out by myself for the first time, which was nerve-wracking, to Orlando, again to the same place, and they taught me everything about running the brand, from how to make the donuts and operate the equipment to how to do the sales and marketing and all of the operations, and I really enjoyed that. And after that, we just had to get in line for a trailer because there was a backup, basically, because so many people were in line for trailers and they can only produce them so fast. And so about a month later, my trailer was ready. So I drove a truck for 2 days straight down to Georgia. And I'm in Massachusetts, so that was not a easy drive. And it was pretty long, but it was cool. And so we got to Georgia and we picked up the trailer. And then we drove, just me, no we. I drove 2 days back, and then I had the trailer, and then from there I just started booking jobs and doing everything I needed to do to get up and running. And so basically that's the simple backstory of how I got into this. I had the idea, and my dad is a franchise consultant, and we just used the money that would have been put towards college to invest into this business. And I'm really happy I did that because I'm having a great time running this business, and I've learned a lot, and we're making a little bit of money. And yeah. All right, so as promised, I am going to be giving a little tour of the trailer. So you can see I did not make it up. It's right here. I'm gonna go inside now. All right, just gotta unlock this. You can see some dishes. Here's the cabinets. And so this is the window that we serve out of. And this is the tablet, the Square Reader, where we accept payments. And this is the drink holder. This is where we put refrigerated drinks like lemonade and iced coffee. We got the cups. We got the syrup. We got an ice holder that's got some cups in it right now. This is where we squeeze the lemons. This is the mixer for the donut mix, and this is where all the toppings are. And then this is the donut machine, the star of the operation. And so the donuts, when there's oil in here, the donuts get cooked and then they flip, and then they flip out right here, and just got some old donuts there. And I will put in a little video of the donut machine actually in operation. And I forgot to mention this earlier, but this is kind of the most cool part of the operation that makes this truck really unique from other trucks. And so that's the Wash the Donuts window. And so if you're outside looking in, I'll go out right now. So what's really cool is that this window lights up. It says Watch the Donuts, and all the lights come on here, and you actually get to watch the donuts being made live in this window, which is not something that any other food truck has. So that's just really unique and fun. And that's about it for this first video, guys. So thank you for watching. If you're watching this in 2024, then you're probably one of the first people to ever watch my stuff. So yeah, thank you.